very tough division. You have the Cardinals, the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. Let's start with the Cardinals. The Cardinals were surprisingly good last year. On offense, they were somewhat productive. Their defense was very good, which kept them in a lot of games. And so they pretty much got robbed of the playoffs because they're unfortunately in the same division as the 49ers and Seahawks. For this year, unfortunately for them, they've had a couple key guys go out on defense. I believe they lost Darnell Dockett for the season, and they also had another guy out. I'm not sure if he is suspended or out for the season, but both the guys that went out were pretty important guys for them. So it'll be hard to fill in the gaps on defense. On offense, listen, man, Carson Palmer is mediocre. The end. Beyond that, the notables are Andre Ellington. A lot of people believe that he is ready to be the man and to break out. I'm not really a doubter. I just didn't really notice that much production last year to warrant that. So we'll see. As far as receiver, I love Fitzgerald. A lot of people think that Michael Floyd is going to take over as the #1 target in Arizona. I'll believe that when I see it. They've been saying that about Michael Floyd for how many years now. So that I'm not really too hyped up about it. Like I said, man, it basically comes down to, unfortunately for the Cardinals, they play against the Niners and Seahawks. And so, if you're the third place team, you're probably a pretty good team, but it doesn't matter because they're really good. So, with that being said, on defense, like I said, they have a good defense, but losing those two guys is going to be hard to play without, and so I think they'll struggle, especially if the one guy's out for a suspension or something in the beginning. They're going to have a hard time winning without him, in my opinion. So we'll see. Moving on let's go to the Rams. The Rams just lost Bradford for the year against my Browns. Sorry about that. I don't think the Rams are going to be good. I mean, they're in a tough division. Their defense is respectable, but not formidable like the Niners and Seahawks. But on offense, man, you go from Bradford. I didn't even believe in Bradford that much. I know he had good stats before he got hurt last year, but he's never been able to stay healthy or put a full season together. So I wasn't a believer in him, and now they got Sean Hill, who I'm definitely not a believer in. So not good. I do believe in Zach Stacy. I think he's a good running back. I think he can produce. He'll be definitely their #1 producer on offense. But unfortunately for them, the defense isn't that good to shut out teams or keep them real low, and the offense isn't good enough to score more. So they're going to have a losing record this year, unfortunately for them. So moving on to the Niners. The Niners are going to be good again this year. A lot of people think they're going to drop off this year. I don't. In the preseason, it looked a little shaky. Their offense looked a little non-existent. I think they were just being very vanilla and not showing much because it is a preseason. They just gave a whole bunch of money to Kaepernick. Obviously, Harbaugh believes in Kaepernick to take the next step as far as being a star. I have a tendency to agree with Harbaugh because he knows what he's talking about. So, I think Kaepernick's going to have a great year. I think Crabtree will produce Bolden, Davis, even Stevie Johnson. I mean, they have tons of weapons on offense. Frank Gore just keeps on running his whole life. Behind him, you have my boy from Ohio State, Carlos Hyde. So, I mean, the rich get richer, man. Their offensive line is solid. Boone just came back, so they're good to go. On defense, the only thing they have going against them is they lost, I think, a little bit in their secondary. They took a step back there, and they also have Navarro Bowman's hurt right now, so that'll hurt because he's a monster. But they do have Patrick Willis, so they'll be all right. Moving on to the Seahawks, Super Bowl champions. Seahawks, they obviously have a great defense, a good offense. I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan. Marshawn Lynch is a monster. I don't like Marshawn Lynch, but he's a monster. Their backup running backs are good. Their offensive line is good. And so they have no reason not to succeed this year. The problem is that it's really hard to duplicate a Super Bowl season, and they changed the rules. So the rules don't let you be as physical as you are on defense, which is exactly what Seattle did. So whether or not that messes up their defense, we'll see. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. But there's no reason that they shouldn't be first or second in their division this year. But don't be surprised if the 49ers overtake them for first, because although they're almost unbeatable at home, they are very beatable away. And I think if they kind of, get too high on themselves, they could let a couple slip. And the Niners are pretty hungry after last year, so watch out. All right, moving on.